Okay, be honest, have you ever opened a can of corned beef, looked inside, and thought, wait, where's the corn? There's no corn smell, not a single kernel anywhere. So why on earth is it called corned beef? And this isn't a dumb question, because English is full of names like this. Hot dogs don't have dog hamburgers, don't have ham, and baby oil definitely doesn't have any babies in it. But corned beef is different. The story behind that name takes you through over 1,000 years of history, a politically messy piece of legislation, a tearful immigrant story in New York City, and millions of rations served on the battlefields of 2 world wars. Sounds interesting, let's go. Welcome to Mysteries of Simple Things, the channel where everyday secrets are uncovered and explained. To understand the name, you have to go back to Old English back in the 9th century when the word corn had absolutely nothing to do with the yellow stuff you eat at a summer barbecue. Back then, corn referred to any small hard grain or particle barley grains of sand or coarse rock salt crystals. Those big, rough, chunky salt crystals used to preserve meat. People called them corns of salt. By the 1600s, the process of using those salt crystals to cure beef was called corning, and the beef preserved that way naturally became corned beef. So from start to finish, the corn in the name is just salt. Nothing more, nothing less. Corn the vegetable was never part of the story. This is what linguists call a linguistic fossil, a name that kept its old shape from hundreds of years ago, even while the meaning of the word completely changed. English evolved corn became associated with corn on the cob, but the old name stuck around to this day like a tiny piece of history sitting quietly on the label of a can in your kitchen cabinet. But the really interesting part of the story starts in Ireland in the mid-1600s, and it involves a seriously dramatic political decision. The British government passed the Cattle Acts banning Ireland from exporting live cattle to England, supposedly to protect the domestic livestock industry. It seemed like a death blow to Irish farmers, but the Irish quickly found a brilliant loophole. The law only banned the export of live cattle, not salted beef. And conveniently, Ireland had extremely low salt taxes compared to England. So they immediately pivoted to salt curing beef in bulk and exporting it to England, Europe, and eventually the Americas. Ireland quickly became the world's leading producer of corned beef. But here's the most bittersweet part of the whole story. Most ordinary Irish people couldn't actually afford to eat the very thing they were producing. Corned beef was too expensive for the average person. They mostly ate cheaper salted pork and cabbage. Just stop and think about that for a second. They made it, they packaged it, they loaded it onto ships and sent it all over the world, then went home and ate something else. That's one of the strangest and saddest food paradoxes in history. The story flips again when millions of Irish immigrants landed in America in the 1800s. They were fleeing famine, fleeing poverty, carrying homesickness, and memories of family meals. They wanted to recreate the flavors of home salted pork and cabbage just like back in Ireland. But in American cities like New York and Boston, pork was surprisingly expensive, while beef was cheap and easy to find. Everything was reversed. Then something interesting happened right in the crowded neighborhoods of New York. Irish immigrants were living alongside Jewish communities, and the local Jewish kosher delis sold a type of salt-cured beef that tasted remarkably similar to the salted pork they remembered from home. The Irish started buying it. They brought it home and cooked it with cabbage the way their families always had, with all the smells and flavors of childhood. And gradually, corned beef and cabbage became the iconic dish of Irish Americans, especially every St. Patrick's Day. There's just one funny thing about that. This is not actually a traditional Irish dish at all. If you went to Ireland today, proudly ordered a plate of corned beef and cabbage, and told someone it was a traditional Irish recipe, they would look at you like you had 2 heads. In actual Ireland, the traditional dish is bacon and cabbage salted pork, not beef. Corned beef and cabbage is really an Irish-American creation, shaped by Jewish culinary culture born right here on American soil. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone!